Direct from Foxborough, Massachusetts, the gem of Norfolk County, and taped at the studios of Foxborough Cable Access. It's Foxborough Central. And here's your host, Bob Hickey.
Welcome back to another great episode of Foxborough Central. You heard the man, I'm Bob Hickey. Welcome to my little studio that I like to call home sometimes. Coming to my home is my good friend and guest, Ed O'Leary, Chief O'Leary with the it's good to see you again with the Foxborough Police Department. And today we're going to be talking about our community youth and specifically some things, some initiatives, some events that are upcoming that are timely and that we need to know about.
Well, thank you, Bob. I appreciate the time to talk with you today about some of the programs that we're working with other community groups in to keep people in our community safe.
So we're going to talk about two things today. And folks at home, this is going to be a program that is going to have some information. So you may want to get a pencil and paper, or you may just want to just really understand what's going on, because this is truly about today's events and things that are important to our youth and what the Foxborough Police Department is doing to address some in the news events. We're going to talk about drinking and we're going to talk about abuse.
Absolutely. And I'm going to do it by date. On Wednesday, May 8th, we're going to be working with Hugs Foxborough and presenting a panel forum on sexual assault awareness.
Okay.
The Hugs group has lined up an exceptional group to make presentations as how people can be victimized as they age in our community. One of the presenters is the group out of Attleboro that's been in existence as far back as when I was a police officer first joining the force, called New Hope. They're known for assisting women that have been victims of domestic violence, and they've broadened their mandate to also provide support to victims of sexual assault. They're going to be talking about some of the programs that they offer to help victims and of both domestic violence and sexual assault, and sort of talk about when they find young victims, preschool. We've also, as part of the panel, going to have a member of the school guidance staff talking about, as people transition into school, some of the things that they're dealing with in our community, whether it's just physical abuse or emotional abuse of children, as well as some inklings at the high school level of sexual abuse or teen dating violence that occurs.
There's so many topics and so many types of abuse that you read about in the paper, and of course with the ongoing investigation that your team is front and I'm not going to ask you about it because I don't want to interfere with the investigation, but it's been well publicized about a former scout and waterfront leader, Sheehan, who allegedly did a lot of bad things. And this is a real issue. It's a real need in our community. It's not something that happened 30 years ago and then didn't happen again. This is something that is still happening today?
Well, from what we learn, that it unfortunately is something that still happens in Foxborough. And again, we're trying to give a broad base of information to people. Another person that will be speaking on our panel is Jennifer Rowe. She's an attorney with the District Attorney's Office. She's going to be talking about college age and young women and men that also end up being victims as they get older. And the last presenters for the panel are from HESCO, because occasionally we have senior citizens that end up being victimized as they reach their so-called golden years. Certainly the Hugs leadership, that includes Mara Schaefer-Jobin.
Nice save.
And then Ruth Karasak, that was the past president, who's worked, for the Hugs cause for well over a decade to get it started, to have it do programs like we did recently on teen dating violence at the Ahern School.
And that was a program that was done to the 8th graders, focusing.
Right, we
and it was
did.
done in the schools in conjunction with the school administration.
Yes, it was. I talked with Mrs. Abrams, the principal of the building. She was thrilled to bring that program to the 8th graders because her staff notices that even at that age, young people are starting to establish relationships, and the difficulty of finding your way and the emotions of being involved in a dating relationship. So she found it was very helpful. And the questions that they were asking, the young people were asking the performers, the play was called Remote Control, was very insightful, that what they saw on the stage might be things that they've seen in the hallway already, and you know, to try and get better information on how to handle things. And certainly the cast did an excellent job, both with the performance, but more importantly in answering the young people's questions. So that's part of an ongoing partnership that the police have had with HUGS since its inception. And I think it's really important to have advocates for people in the community that want to prevent and then mitigate incidents that occur. Certainly when we're talking about the topic of the Sheehan case, I think it's very helpful that I mention the YMCA's initiative, Darkness to Light.
With Tony Calcia, absolutely.
Yes, he's done an exceptional job, as has Ed Hurley, in getting that program out to our community. I've had several staff members and myself have gone to the training, and it's heart-rending to listen to the stories that are projected, but you go away from that training with an idea that you can make a difference by just being more observant.
Well, you know, and Tony was a previous guest on one of our shows, and for folks at home who would like to learn more about the
Darkness to Light
Darkness
campaign.
to Light campaign, you can go to our website, www.fcatv.org, and check out the episode with Tony Calcia as my guest. And that is an ongoing project focused on community prevention, community awareness, community education, and making us all partners in working to prevent future abuse. And that's part of what you're doing. Actually, it's a totality of what you're doing, is trying to educate from an early age, get this information into the schools, where it may not be a message that they want to hear, but your partnership with the schools in getting this into the classrooms and into the auditoriums where the kids are gonna be, for lack of a better term, part of their curriculum, part of coming in, part of their day where they come in to see it. It becomes a captive audience, and they have to hear the message.
Well, I think it's not that they have to hear it, but certainly the cooperation that we've had with the school system going back to the late 1970s with initiating programs in the public schools, whether forums such as at the high school level and middle school, to individual classroom visits during our time frame within the community, I think is an essential part, that we're not apart from Foxborough, we are part of Foxborough as a police agency, so that people don't think it's strange and start worrying, well, why is a police car at my child's school? Well, we're there because schools are part of our community, and we want to make sure that people feel safe with the staff, and also know that what we're involved in is to protect young people. To get to that element, one of the things that happens frequently during springtime is we have an increase in the amount of teens that engage in binge drinking, which is a potentially fatal issue.
Particularly with the prom coming up, that becomes
Exactly.
an item that we have to talk about.
Right. I know that we've got a prom contract signing event at the high school. All the parents and children going to the prom have to attend the program. We're reaching out to actually a nationally known speaker in the field of teenage drug abuse, which I think would be enlightening to the parents. I'm hoping we're able to come to terms and have that person arrive.
Well, it's definitely on our list, and that's on May 9th.
That's going to be on,
Thursday, May 9th?
yes, Thursday, May 9th. Thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome. It's on my
and
calendar, so.
The school department is, again, in full support of it. The new principal, Diana Myers-Packler, was here when we started doing the prom contract signing. It has evolved in terms of its message, but it's to make parents and students aware that they have some responsibility to attend the prom. It's not just, I can buy my ticket and go and I don't have to be held accountable. Yes, there is accountability, and the school system has shown over the years that they do hold children accountable for making poor choices. And I think of it not from a punishment end, but to protect everybody that attends the prom. So that is also on our radar screen moving forward, the prom contract signing. I know the parents of our high school seniors are preparing for the all-night party.
Yes.
That will take place on the night of graduation. And the intent of these initiatives is to make sure that young people have alternatives to alcohol and dangerous behaviors so that they can have an enjoyable time. We can have what I hope is a season of late spring, early summer without having a community tragedy that impacts all of us. And if we can prevent some of these things from happening, then the work of the volunteers that organize these events and my agency and the fire service that has to respond has had a great spring and summer.
Well, the prom, being a school function, is still put on by, predominantly organized by the parents and the volunteers. And the all-night grad party is definitely a volunteer
very definitely.
function, and also privately funded through their charitable, through donations and fundraising. So it's truly an important event. And we in Foxborough are lucky that we've had that continuity, because the problem with any type of volunteer organization that centers around our youth is the people who participate are parents. Well, the kids graduate and the kids, leave, Cub Scouts. Well, the great Cub Scout leader is no longer a Cub Scout leader because their kid is now in Boy Scouts, so they move on. So what a great message of continuity and support from the police department as well as the school administration to keep these programs going year after year, and the PTOs as well.
Right. I think it shows the spirit of our community that people pass the baton, so to speak, to the next level of parents that come along. Much like going way back in my past, whether it was coaching soccer or basketball or baseball, at some point as your children age out of that particular age group, another group of parents step forward. So I brag about my Little League record as a coach. I think 2 years in a row I was successfully the last place team due to my coaching. But that happens as parents move on with their lives, but we're very fortunate that there's always someone there that's willing to step up. And I think that, again, reflects well on the character of the individuals that reside here.
Well, I think also a big piece of that is the work you've done as the leader these past decades, I'll have to say now, of our police department, but also the fact that you live here and you're part of the community. You and your wife, and I think she's graduating this year, is she not?
Yes, she's gonna.
She's graduating from work?
Right, she's going to be retiring at the end of this.
That's
after
wonderful.
Teaching at the IGO school first grade for numerous years, and so we're looking to transition her career, and now that we have some grandchild and other grandchildren arriving this summer.
Congratulations on that.
She's thrilled with that opportunity.
So now that she'll be retiring, she'll have a chance to do all the busy things that she really needs to do.
That's right.
That's right. So folks at home, in addition to the important information here, there's other ways to find out about the exciting things the Foxborough Police Department is doing. One of them is to sign up for their Facebook page. You're on Facebook, and people can find out about this information. There's notifications going out, particularly about the HUGS program that is happening, and what a great message that abuse can happen from outset and going through New Hope, through the end with HESCO. I mean, what a great message to send out on a horrible issue to talk about. And then, of course, the all-night prom. All-night party is coming up, but there's a prom contract,
Right.
which is a key date because parents and
Students
juniors
have
and
to
seniors attending have to come to this. So it's a great message to get out. It's an important one. And if they also want to find out more, they can sign up for your electronic newsletter.
That's
and
correct.
they can do that at
Yahoo Groups.
Yahoo Groups, and the name of the group is Foxborough Police.
Yep.
Spelled the company way, Foxboro Police. Chief, thank you so much for taking the time to share this very important message. Folks at home, if you want to see a replay of this, you can, of course, check us out on cable. But if you want to get this information, again, check out our website at www.fcatv.org. And of course, for information about the police department and to get in touch with them, you can either call their business line at 543-4343 or check them out through the town website, which is Town of Foxborough at mass.gov, I believe.
Correct.
I'm good sometimes. Sometimes I'm not. Folks at home, thank you for taking a little bit of time to sit with me and the Chief as we talked about some very important, sometimes uncomfortable, but vitally critical issues that you need to know about. Chief O'Leary, until next time, thank you so much.
Bob, thank you for having me.
Foxborough, I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care, everybody.